This is Ant-Man with ZTV Mag. How's it going, Music Familia? Hanging out with Jonny Hetherington, man. How's it going, man?
It's good, man. We're like 36 shows into a 40-show tour,
Yeah.
so we're starting to feel it. But we're all starting to dream of our pillows back at home.
Right. How's the ankle, man? First and foremost, I heard about that, and one of the fans was really concerned about that. So I make sure I get a fan question in there before I get too deep into the other questions.
Sure, man. Yeah, no, it's getting better. Luckily I did it on a show day that we had a day off right after, so I was able to I made the mistake in the past of getting crazy and spraining ankles and stuff, and then not taking care of it properly the next day. So this time I was able to ice it and keep it up and stay off it for a day or two, and it's getting better. I feel like a sports interview, kind of,
right?
We're just trying to get out there, and they're a great club, we're a great club. We're just trying to put a win in the books.
Right on. So you guys have been around since 2006, man. I've been following you guys for quite some time. A lot of new music coming out this year, and you guys being on a tour. So you guys are playing the Alrosa Villa tonight. What's your guys' take on playing the Alrosa Villa for the first time and being here in Cebus?
It's crazy, man. Rolling up, we knew the history of Dimebag, and just I didn't really know the history of the venue that much. I started talking to the owner tonight, and he said he's had the club going for 42 years. Oldest, longest standing bar in
hell of a piece of history, man.
Yeah, and I was blown away by that. But then when we rolled up and the back door, it just says Dime shines on the back door, some in just cheap graffiti.
Yep.
And then right beside that, a big rest in peace Dimebag, and I just posted that on our Instagram and our Facebook and stuff, because it's a crazy moment. No one who makes music and is creative deserves to die while they're performing. That's just fucking wrong. You know what I mean? When it's, done by someone else's hand, it's just absolutely shook our business, shook our industry. The idea that you can get a gun into a club and just shoot someone on stage is just ridiculous, especially as a Canadian. It's
right.
That's just ridiculous. It should not happen. And, there's so much, I never knew Dimebag personally, but I was close friends with my old manager, who was really tight with all the Pantera guys, and Dimebag was his hero, and he was really took me under his wing and introduced me to all that stuff, and why Dimebag is great, will always be great, and it's just such a loss, So we walked into that room, and it was eerie, It wasn't. There's no feeling of happiness going on when I walked in there, set things up and took the stage for soundcheck, and it's not a great vibe, but hopefully we'll bring that full circle with the show tonight and try and channel some of that energy in a positive way.
You guys had a lot of new music. We were just talking a little bit about that, and one of the new songs you guys have out, Nevermore, is a great song, man. Thank you so much for putting that out there. That a lot of the fans and a lot of people that me and Jeremy and a lot of the zombies out there touch base with is the lyrics. They're just so powerful. One of the biggest things about I think music is how you can just reach in somebody's guts and just pull out all kinds of things, and your guys' music seems to really do that for a lot of people. So, where do you give credit to? Is that personal experience, or is that really just trial and error since the band put together? How do you put that together?
It's pretty simple for me. I just write about how I'm feeling, and we're all human, so I guess that translates. If you're writing about, I don't know, some fantastical tale of someone else's life, then here's a little story about Jack and Diane. That's great too, but that's not the way I tend to write. I just write about fuck, I really want to, get, no pun intended, get through this hard time or this this bad news or the opposite. I really love celebrating life with music too, and words, and just being yes, I feel so good today. I'm just gonna write about that, and hopefully someone out there feels good when they hear it too. And so I think it's just a human thing, man. We're all very, very similar, and we all feel those those natural things that just people often say you guys are a really positive, hopeful band, and I always think about that, and I think well, that's true, but that's only half true. Like the other half of the music and the lyrics are about the struggle and about the darkness, and and then so it's kind of like a 50-50 thing for me, where I'm just writing about everyday life. Like, and everyday life is not that great for everyone all the time, and there's pretty much everyone has rough days and everyone has great days, and so I just write about that.
Right on.
Yeah.
How do you adapt from 2006 to 2016? Getting out there, social media, things have changed so much. How do you guys adapt and still stay on top?
Yeah, man, we navigate, just listen to what's going on, keep our ear to the ground. I was just thinking about that, that where was, these terms that we now rely on as bands very, very much, like, social media and all these things that maybe even 4 or 5 years ago we weren't really doing as much as, I think a lot of bands were hoping the social media thing would blow over and be like, really? We got to do some work now? Like, we're just playing music, and that's kind of the dream, right? Is to be write, play, sing, perform, go to the next town, do the same thing. And I think it's taken a lot of bands a long time to embrace the fact that, well, you're marketing yourself as well, like through social media. You want people to hear your music, and there's only a few ways they can hear your music these days. Well, radio, obviously all the new styles of radio like satellite and stuff, and then social media. It's a great platform other than your live show, and that's the other reason we're out here doing 40 shows in a row. Is like we want to reach people with the music every night. So yeah, we embrace it and just navigate every day. We've got a great team around us now too, which that takes twists and turns all the time, where you're not expecting to be with a manager for 5 years and then not be with that manager again, and you have to listen to to the world. That's one of my like big personal goals all the time, is to like just take a breath, listen, try and feel what's going on, and try and go that way.
So, what would you give advice-wise to some of the local bands and all the bands that are trying to get where you guys are, strong and head forth into the industry? What advice would you give to the upcomers?
Well, you got to do this because you love it, because that is the payoff. Like really, any artist, most painters or sculptors or any art form, photographers as well, most of them do not ever know success. They always become successful near death or after death. And it's kind of like that with music, like you can't be out there. It's funny because there's musicians and music, and then there's entertainment. And I think that all got messed up through, the years and the Hollywood factor and the TMZs and just like, you see your pop stars, which have nothing to do with music.
Damn you, social media!
But that's, and some people sit at home and think, well, if I play music, I can become a pop star, and that's going to make me rich and famous and successful and all the things I want in life. And music, to me, is about expression and the circle that you have with your audience. So it's definitely like one of the biggest rewards that I've found over the years is just having people tell me their story about why a song affected them in a certain way. And if you're out there for those things, you're going to have a very successful career in music. If those are your ideas of payoff, I always tell young bands, do it with your friends, because you do not want to be stuck in a van with 3 or 4 people you don't like. And I've seen it even on this tour. I've seen other bands struggling because they're not on the same page in their lives. They might be on the same page musically, but friendship is huge. And any young band in high school, you're starting out, don't go look for the drummer in the school that you think is going to be a good drummer for your band that you kind of don't like. Just go get your best friends together, and kind of like the Beatles, just get your best friends together and decide who's going to play what and start a band. And that's going to lead you a lot further than, than trying to put force something together with people that aren't on the same page. And buy a tuner. That's always the thing I tell guitar players, because it took me a long time, man. I bought guitars and I played guitars and I wrote with guitars, and it took me years to buy my first tuner. And then that's when you realize, oh, I've been out of tune for like 4 years, trying to learn how to sing on an out of tune instrument. It's horrible. So, and you'd be shocked to see like people still to this day, just an untuned guitar is probably the worst sound on the planet, and a tuned guitar is the opposite. So.
I'm not going to keep you too long, man, but one last fan question. As a musician, as an artist, how do you feel about fans coming to the show with their camera phones and getting video and pictures and stuff like that of you guys, knowing that merch and selling things are so important? What's your guys' take as a band on that? Fans just wanting to share your guys' presence with other people who can't afford to get to the shows, because sometimes, people who are fans of music also nickel and dime and can't afford tickets and can't afford things because of life. But what is your guys' take on that?
I don't think you can fight things like, I just remember Metallica fighting Napster, and just. I don't think there's a point in, I think that when you start to fight things that are happening in the world, then I think you're just getting old. You're just getting old, and you're just like, I don't like things the way they're happening now. I'm old. And so you kind of have to roll with things and just be like, okay, if there's going to be 300 people at our show and, 50 of them are recording it and live streaming it to their friends, is that going to hurt ticket sales? Maybe. I mean, we're just getting into that era right now where it's like, shit, I have a choice. $50 to go see a band I love, or maybe I can just stream it on my big screen and make some popcorn. And that might be free or illegally free, or maybe there's going to be a service soon. I know, what's his name from 30 Seconds to Mars? Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
He had a service going for a while. Remember what that's called?
Concert Glass. I thought there was another venue.
It was like a one-word.
Yeah, and you can there's a tip bucket, and you can do tips to them, and it goes directly to the bands, and you can do other stuff like that. I've seen similar software, yeah.
And I'm sure he's doing it out of his own kind of service to the industry, but I'm sure there'll be a major player soon that will just be like, one of these iHeart whatever. It'll be like iHeart movies or bands at home, and next thing you know, it'll be like $20 a month, and you can watch all the concerts live on your couch. And
ZTPmag.com. Hey, that's a promo right there.
But who knows if it's coming? I just don't think you can fight it, because that's just the way the world is working. And just like water works its way down the mountain and finds, water always finds a way, so will what our society wants to do, and technology is limitless. So I don't think you can fight these, why swim upstream when you can just go with the flow and jump in a kayak and ride it out.
After tonight at the Alrosa Villa, what next shows, what next cities you guys got coming up?
We're in South Bend, Indiana. We only actually have 3 shows after this. So South Bend, I'm really looking forward to that. But we're hitting the Machine Shop in Flint.
Yeah.
Which is, one of America's greatest venues.
Yes, sir.
The last time we played there, it was just, I was shocked with the audience.
The walls reverberate. It's intense.
We happened to be on an acoustic show the last time we were going through with Saving Abel, and the audience was so loud in between our songs that I couldn't say anything. My mic was not loud enough to cut through, and that just speaks to great rock and roll community like Flint, Michigan. There's so many of those little pockets around the United States, and I love traveling around and visiting them and getting to know them better. And really excited about tonight because it's our first time in this venue, in this area. We've done the Rock on the Range a couple of times in this area, but never really a club show, so I'm pretty pumped.
Right on. All right, man. Well, Jonny, thank you so much, man, for doing what you do as an artist and musician.
Pleasure,
and I'll see you guys tonight at the show.
Sounds great.
All right, this is Ant-Man for ZTP Mag. I'm out. Thanks, man.
Good interview, bro.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.